crisis and its aftermath have taken place during the process of European enlargement. And I would think that many of these countries that are emerging from communism in transition and approaching convergence with Europe might have taken quite a setback. How is the European enlargement agenda affected by the crisis, and what is the state of it at present?
Yeah, I think one would see this in a larger picture, because it was really about a new growth model, in a sense, that this region tested. It was a growth model that's based on what we economists always wanted, capital flowing from capital-rich countries to capital-poor countries, and generating very significant growth. And we have looked at this, and it's very clear that, unlike most other parts of the world, financial integration in this part of the world generated very significant growth in the period leading up to the crisis. But of course, and this was very much part of a broader integration. It was financial integration, it was real sector integration, and of course, underneath it all, political integration. And all those things came together and created sort of a virtual cycle, I would say, in the period leading up to the crisis. Then the crisis came, it put a lot of stress on this integration. But I think what comes out is that actually financial integration stood up very well to these pressures. But what was needed now was a regulatory supervisory framework at the European level that would actually correspond to the depth and sort of complexity of the financial integration that we saw. And so that's, I think, is something that came out of the crisis. We see now the first institutions, the new European Systemic Risk Board, for example. There's also a new micro-prudential risk, not risk board, but a group of supervisors created to deal with some of the complexities of this financial integration. So yes, European integration was part of the story leading up to the crisis. The crisis created stress on the system, but also led to new developments in integration in Europe. So there is a very strong issue now inside the European Union. Should there be continued integration, or should there be further extension into new countries? And there, I think there is still a lot of discussions to be had. Of course, from our perspective, we think this is extremely important to keep this enlargement alive, because it's been a very important driver of growth in many areas, economic as well as political and social, cultural, all those things. The desire to become part of Europe and return to Europe for most of these countries has been very strong, driving integration, and I think that's what we should welcome. It's been very important for dealing with some of the issues in Southeast Europe, where of course the collapse of the former Yugoslavia was a major source of tension, and the prospect of becoming part of the European Union has been a sort of source of an anchor, if you want, to the economic and political developments in that region.